Hello, hello, my December daily friends. I am finally coming to you with a December daily process video. I know many of you maybe had been looking for them and wondering what was going on, but unfortunately, not unfortunately, the season has just been very fun, very active, and I was just never able to get inspiration to sit down or find the time with other projects I had going on, my actual job, all that kind of stuff. So a few weeks ago, not a few days ago, I finally wanted to get things done and told myself, you just have to make yourself sit down and do it. So I finally figured out, it was also a little bit of a too much inspiration, I think it was, along with just a little bit of going into this 10 by 8 size kind of just threw me off. I feel like if I was in the 6 by 8 size, I would have been off and running, unfortunately, at this point, but this kind of was a little scary for me. So what I started off with, which a lot of people did, was the transparency that said all things merry and bright. But of course, I only have the digital kit, so I did try this in vinyl. It didn't come out the best, but it didn't come out the worst. So we're gonna take it. We're gonna leave it just because, you know, at this point, like, it is what it is. So with that, with the, of course, opening page of my family, with just a very simple 22 down here. These were fall family pictures that we took. We didn't take any Christmas pictures this year, so we're gonna go with the fall ones. There, I haven't even gotten to do anything with them yet. So then I have done I have done and have not got it completely finished. But I always like doing the, you know, whatever Allie kind of does for the tags and all that kind of stuff. So I did do the prep day tags. My husband and my oldest need to fill them out. My youngest did. And then just put pictures on the back. So those are me and my husband, and then my two boys. On the back, I want bigger ribbon. All I have is like very thin ribbon. So I'm waiting for that. So I'm to the point where I'm just trying to not think too much about this. I'm also trying to use some of my stash, as I didn't get, like I said, the kit. I got the digital and then a few embellishments like the numbers and all that kind of stuff. But I really am trying to use my kit. So I used some papers from last year. So you are going to see a lot of last year's products in this year's, because like I said, I'm trying to use them up. I have so much. So day one, I did get done. I felt like I just needed to get it done without cameras, and then we'll start picking up with the process videos. It's a very easy 10 by 8. I do feel like a lot of my pictures will be these large photos. I just like taking large photos. I've been trying to think about this way of shooting because I usually shoot very vertically, which works great for 6 by 8s. But this was actually a scrap lift off of their rye pie, I think is how she pronounces it. I love her work. I don't know who doesn't, but she had one actually for like, I think 2022 for a like beginning of the year, like they were counting down, and I just kind of used that. I put this part in Photoshop, overlapped them. I originally did have this was like the third version of this. I did put this in my foil quill. Unfortunately, my foil quill kept on not going up far enough to get that one, and I just didn't like it. So I figured doing it this way, I just stamped this and then die cut it out, would make the one stand out even more. And then I have a pull out that will go here once we get the next one done. But yeah, it will go here and it will pull out to tell. I just start off with the most wonderful time of the year and a card. Like I said, this project has been a little weighing on my soul lately. I actually went through 2 different thought processes where I was going to do everything Christmas song related. I thought that would be fun, but I thought that would be putting a little bit too much pressure on myself at this point now that I'm not getting it done. And then I was going to do it the way that Crystal Inante was doing it, where she was picking out her, like, picking out the you know, main thing that she was going to do, and then like a journaling like prompt. And then I decided against that. I am probably going to do that though next year for sure. So we are going to work on day 2. Day 2 is the other thing that I am dealing with is in the beginning of the month, I have like 3 stories for every day. 3 good stories for every day too. Because I do a lot with my children for 25 days of Christmas. I'm also doing things with my friends. Like, there's just a lot. And so I'm trying to figure out a way to incorporate everything. So obviously we are going to be dealing with this side of the spread. So we went to Detroit. And I didn't really have the greatest pictures of outside. I thought I was going right back the next week and I wasn't getting that many pictures. We ended up never making it back, unfortunately. Hopefully we will in January. And so I did take a stock photo and then put a gradient over this. We are going to stamp over here with some more embossing. And then this is just some pictures of us down there. And I'm going to make a little bit of a flip, I think. That just is going to go right here to go with this. And then this side will be day 3. So let's get started on that. And I'm going to put you on fast forward. And yeah, let's finally get a process video up and going. All right, guys. So this was an hour worth of footage, all condensed down into about 15 minutes. Because as you're going to see, definitely it was a lot of stamping and embossing and just a lot of time consuming. Not hard, but time consuming. So one thing I was trying to figure out is how or what stamp set I was going to use. I did have this one in mind when I was thinking of this page, but I was really trying to use the stamp set that was for December Daily this year. I really felt like this year Allie did not use her stamp set that much, whereas in other years, like her signature stamp set for the year was much more used. You remember 2020, that blackout set I think is probably still one of the most used stamp sets in like the scrap industry, or Allie's and side of the scrap industry, I should say. She still uses that stamp set a lot. So I just was trying to use it, but from when I went to go take it out, I'm like, oh, it's actually not big enough. Though that this stamp set was not that much bigger. It was beefier, I guess I should say. I don't know. Anyways, so as you've seen, I have stamped all of that. I was considerably upset that the R got moved. I was like, really? I was doing so well. Just did that in with Versamark ink, of course, and I think that is the Princess Gold embossing powder by Ranger. And it is a Kelly Bradford stamp set. I will link, of course, everything below. I did end up using the smaller size in font in that stamp set for in Detroit. So here I am just putting these pages now together, and finally bringing 2 pages of this album together. When I was doing this part, guys, I was so proud of myself, and more than I've ever been proud of myself about putting an album together. This project has been weighing on my heart so much because I just could not get myself to start it for some reason. I don't know, like I haven't really had that problem in the past, other than with Week in a Life this year, which still is not put together. But normally for my December daily, I am just like all about it. But you know what? I was off having a great time with family. So, all right. So you did just see me. Sorry for my head so much, guys. This was definitely a setup where I was, having to put corners together, and just that darn head of mine got in the way too many times. But anyways, yeah. So I did leave the space. Thankfully, I remembered in the nick of time for the card that is actually for day number 1. Then if you are in the Allie Edwards Facebook group for December Daily, I actually asked this question in the Facebook group about how I have so many stories for every day, especially in the beginning, honestly. Not so much in the end because unfortunately my little guy got sick. But in the beginning, I just had so many stories. And so for day 1, I actually had 3 stories and got 2 of them in. I do 25 days of Christmas with my kids where we try and do a small activity or craft or something along the lines for Christmas. And I know most of you maybe know that Wendy's brought out their peppermint frosties. So that day we went and got peppermint frosties, and I put that in there. So I just had the kids cheers in front of the Christmas tree for a quick picture. And yeah, that was pretty much that. But I'm making a flip out. So the outside of the flip out is still what the day story is. And then the inside of the flip out will be the sub story, I guess you should say. So that is the first way that I have included multiple stories into my December daily. And this will probably be an ongoing thing that I will try and incorporate into my process videos for you guys, because that was actually a pretty good topic in the Facebook group on how people are incorporating multiple stories, or if you even incorporate multiple stories. So I'd like to know in the comments below, do you incorporate multiple stories, or is it just one story? A lot of people were like, oh, just put it on another day. Well, guys, I have about 45 stories to tell this December, and there is not a day that I have where there's not a story for something. There was several times where I'm like, where am I even going to fit my wrapping story in type thing? Like normal things that I'd use for fillers, I just didn't need this year. So like I said, we were very busy until the end. And even in the end, I found multiple stories throughout the day, including documenting getting sick, for my little guy getting sick, and all that kind of stuff. So to make my flips, I just use a regular copy paper to reduce the bulk, because I do believe with so many stories that probably will be an issue this year. I'm going to try and just reduce the bulk as much as possible. So I just use copy paper that I score. I did cut that outside picture down about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch so that we can get the holes in. This is just a 5x7 flip out also not a full 6x8 flip out. I just did 5x7 pictures, and putting that tab in there. It just says festive. I think we all have so many of these tabs. We love them. Usually I am not the one that likes to put them on the outside like this. I just forgot to leave any space on the inside with no glue type thing. So I did that with my tiny attacher. The next thing I am going to show you the process of is picking the number, because I did kind of forget about the number for a minute. Again, just getting back into this little bit of December daily-ness. So just picking a number. This is just a really old set of Mombi, Me, Myself, and I think that's what that is, red glitter letters. And I felt like there was already a lot of gold going on. I didn't really have a gold number that I loved, but I did bring the gold over with a gold label from Color Theory or Studio Calico. The circle was just a little bit too small, so we chose this one. All right, guys, so that is the first process video. I am going to put a card in here for some journaling. That will be later. But yeah, talk to you guys soon in the next one.